Myst, Might, Mayhem. By Han Jung-Wioya. Chapter 462. The Beginning of a Calamity. Part 1. In a dark forest, a campfire burned. Jin Yurin, who had been sitting in front of it eating jerky to stave off hunger, looked up at the night sky. For some unknown reason, at some point the night sky had become cloudless, and a chilling, ominous wind was blowing. She felt that all of this was not a good sign. Tatak tatak. After looking at the night sky, she lowered her head and gazed at the sparking campfire. As she watched it, her mind drifted back to a few hours ago. A few hours earlier. At sunset, in the bamboo forest that had been reduced to ruins. Mok Jiangun, looking at the clues Jin Yurin had engraved on the ground, spoke, "It's impossible to stop everything he has prepared for so long." Puzzled by Mok Jiangun's unexpected conclusion, she asked, "Are you saying you're giving up?" "No. I can't do that." "That's a relief. If you, young Master Mok, said you were giving up, all the sacrifices so far would have been in vain. Since we don't know where Mok Gan is, shouldn't our priority be to stop those beings called the 6 demons first?" The 6 leaders considered the pinnacle even among the Imimanjiang. They were called the 6 demons. She thought they should prioritize stopping them, since each one was said to be a calamity and disaster in itself. However, Mok Jiangun shook his head at her words. "What? Then what do you plan to do? It's impossible to stop all of them due to their locations. Didn't you say you weren't giving up?" "I'll strike at Mok Gan's main body." "What? But Mok Gan's main body? I figured out where his main body is through the connection of his thoughts." Jin Yurin couldn't hide her surprise at these words. She knew that Mok Jiangun was deeply versed in magic, but had he reached the point where he could even pinpoint someone's location through their thoughts? Just then, someone interjected into their conversation. "Incarnate. I'll go with you." It was none other than Chen Chu, the highest-ranking member of secret society. Her eyes, which had been endlessly weeping while embracing Ghost Blade, were now filled with extreme killing intent. It was anger towards Mok Gan, who had ultimately killed her father. "For my father's sake, I must cut off his head." "Are you saying you're defecting?" Defection. It literally meant changing from where one originally belonged. At Mok Jiangun's question, she snorted and replied, "If that's what you were hoping for, I'm sorry, but I have no desire to belong to anyone anymore. I'm sick of being manipulated by others. So let's just call it a temporary alliance." "Alliance. Do as you please." Mok Jiangun accepted this, seemingly unconcerned. After all, she was closer to an Imimanjiang than a human, and not someone who would move according to his will. It was appropriate to cooperate just for the purpose at hand. "If you found out where that bastard is, I'll go with you." "Together? Why? Do you think I'll be a hindrance?" At her words, Mok Jiangun shrugged. Her power, as the highest-ranking member of secret society, was practically on par with the 7 heavens, considered the pinnacle of the current martial world, and in some sense, she could exert even greater power because she wasn't human. Then Jin Yurin also stepped forward and said, "I'll help too." Mok Gan, the one who had caused a great calamity, destroyed Muzang Castle, and even driven her only father to his death. And his organization, Secret Society. She, too, could never forgive them. But then... "No. You won't be coming with us." "What did you say?" "Exactly what I said." At Mok Jiangun's words, Jin Yurin argued, unable to understand. "You say it's okay for this woman, but why not me?" "I never said it was okay." "What?" "You're free to follow, but I'm heading to where Mok Gan's main body is right now. If we don't hurry, we'll miss him. If that's the case, we could ride that giant bird you command. The beast human will take them back to the Heaven and Earth Society." The place Mok Jiangun pointed to was where his subordinates who had come with them were. Sib Chun and Mong Muyak were both seriously injured and in poor condition. Even though each of his followers who had come with him had reached the peak of the transcendent realm or even the transformation realm, Mok Jiangyun had concluded that they would be more of a hindrance in the upcoming battle, which could truly be the final confrontation. They also knew this, so they didn't insist on following their lord at the risk of their lives, not wanting to hold Mok Jiangyun back any further. Looking at them, she bit her lip hard before speaking. "I understand what you're saying, young master. But when even one more hand could be helpful, how can you? Let me be clear. Jin Yurin, with your skills, you won't be of help." At Mok Jiangyun's words, as cutting as a sword, she was momentarily at a loss for words. She had reached the profound realm beyond the wall, the same realm as the seven heavens who could be considered the pinnacle of the current martial world. To say that someone like her wouldn't be of help? It was an assessment that hurt her pride terribly, but she couldn't say anything. This was because the memory of her being unable to even face Mok Gon's avatar and hindering her allies several times struck at her core. Hadn't she even lost Chiol Surayan because of this? Quack. As she clenched her fist so tightly that her nails dug into her palm and drew blood, Mok Jiangyun spoke coldly, "I understand your desire for revenge, but you would only be a hindrance. If you truly want to be of help, go to the evil alliance in the north and prepare for the crisis that will come from the north of Shaanxi province." The north of Shaanxi province, Datong. That was where there might be a clue about one of the 6 demons. Tatak tatak. As she recalled the events from a few hours ago while staring at the campfire, she bit her lip hard, still feeling frustrated. She wanted to take revenge with her own hands, but she had to leave it to others. Was she really that weak? No. To be precise, the enemy was too strong. If she didn't admit this, it would be nothing more than self-consolation. All she could do was sigh. She took out the secret manual from her bosom. Tianduan Xingming Jianfa. Heavily concealed luminous star sword art. If she had discovered and learned this earlier, would things have been different? It was a secret manual left by her ancestors as a contingency. It seemed to be a manual with power beyond the current luminous star sword art, but it was impossible to master it in a short time. In the end, all I can do is prepare with the evil alliance. She felt self-loathing at the reality that she couldn't lend her strength. But she couldn't just be disheartened by this. Even if Mok Jiangyun succeeded in killing Mok Gon's main body, the leader of secret society, there was no guarantee that another great calamity wouldn't occur, and it was also hard to rashly guarantee success. Therefore, it was right to make even a little preparation. She turned the pages to study the secret manual. But then... Wariuk. Tada. At that moment, the campfire flame suddenly flared up, sparks flying in all directions before the fire rapidly died down. Her eyes shook at this sudden, strange omen. What's this? It was a kind of sixth sense. In the dying flames, she could only think of one person. Young Master Mok? It happened so suddenly, without any chance to avoid it. As Mok Jiangyun was flying at an incredible speed, a beam of light with tremendous brightness surged up from the ground and enveloped him. Peowiya. Unable to open his eyes properly due to the blinding light, Mok Jiangyun tried to secure his vision by opening his eye power. Suzu. As his eye power opened, the dazzling light faded and he gradually began to see what was in front of him. At that moment, Mok Jiangyun sensed a familiar energy in this blinding beam of light enveloping him. This was... that thing from back then? The feeling of the entire space becoming dull, as if submerged in a heavy liquid. As if time itself had stopped, his entire body was moving very slowly. This was undoubtedly the same technique that Mok Gon's avatar, who had taken Na Yelriang's body in the Heaven and Earth Society, had used. Mok Jiangyun's eyes sharpened. Had he prepared this in advance, anticipating his arrival? Just then, a voice was heard. You arrived earlier than expected. Incarnate. Time was flowing so slowly that Mok Jiangyun couldn't turn his eyeballs, but he could guess who the owner of this voice was. Mok Gon? But something felt off. The manner of speaking was certainly similar, but it wasn't the same voice he had heard when following his thoughts. As he was wondering about this, someone flew in front of Mok Jaeongun's eyes with their hands behind their back. When he saw that face, Mok Jaeongun's pupils slowly contracted. This was because it was an old man whose face was so covered in wrinkles that only his black pupils were visible, with no whites showing. Of course, even so, the atmosphere was far from ordinary. The third eye on his forehead staring directly at Mok Jaeongun, and the smile tinged with madness, along with the tremendous aura flowing from him, were all extraordinary. An avatar. Mok Jaeongun felt a chill inside. It was clearly powerful, but this wasn't the main body in front of him. So this was the reason why the location of the main body had been revealed so easily? This was a prepared trap. The old man, presumed to be Mok Gon's avatar, opened his mouth. How do you find the Supreme Void Sealing Reversal Technique? Supreme Void Sealing Reversal Technique, 1. This revealed something. Did this mean that the technique used to trap him in the Heaven and Earth Society back then wasn't complete? Suk. Meanwhile, he was approaching closer. Mok Jaeongun, thinking that escaping should take priority over understanding the nature of the technique, tried to summon his supreme strength. However, the energy wouldn't gather easily. As if he had anticipated this, Mok Gon's avatar sneered and said, "I prepared this especially for you. It will be completely different from last time." The completed Supreme Void Sealing Reversal Technique. This was an ancient forbidden technique that required sacrificing the lives of beings possessing 1,000 yin energies and 1,000 yang energies. Mok Gon had once used this technique to seal the restraining badger, one of the 6 demons, the assassin king of the sea. It required many sacrifices and was tricky as both yin and yang energies needed to be at their peak, but it was the only technique that could completely trap incarnate, so he had been waiting for this moment. Hoo. Then, shall we retrieve what's mine from you? Mok Gon's avatar slowly reached out his hand towards Mok Jaeongun. He seemed to have already noticed that the wooden doll in Mok Jaeongun's chest contained Chang Ryong. Suk. But at that very moment, a fierce light flickered in Mok Jaeongun's eyes as he glared at Mok Gon's avatar. Then, Wuxin. Kek. At that instant, Mok Gon's avatar spat out black blood and clutched at his heart. He was so shocked that he glared at Mok Jaeongun with trembling eyes. This bastard, could it be? Chapter 463. The Beginning of a Calamity. Part 2. The Supreme Void Sealing Reversal Technique, an ancient forbidden technique. This was a technique that required sacrificing the lives of beings possessing 1,000 yin energies and 1,000 yang energies, along with thousands of intricate formations. Not only was the preparation process for this technique so demanding, but it was also a method that fundamentally put the practitioner's life on the line, which is why it had long since disappeared. Mok Gon had once easily sealed the restraining badger, one of the 6 demons, the assassin king of the sea, using this technique. Although it required many sacrifices, the terrifying aspect of this technique was that once someone was trapped, they absolutely could not escape without a complex unsealing technique. This would be true even for incarnate. After all, this technique was created to trap non-human beings. However, something completely unexpected happened. Wuxin. The moment he met the sharp light in Mok Jaeongun's eyes, Mok Gon's avatar felt a pain as if his heart was being stabbed by a knife. The eyes of Mok Gon's avatar shook wildly. Once trapped in the Supreme Void Sealing Reversal Technique, he should have been in a state where he absolutely could not move. But in that state, there was only one thing that could inflict a wound on his heart as if stabbing it with a sword. Impossible. The sword of the mind? The sword of the mind. It's also called the sword intent. They say that in the realm of swordsmanship, the highest state is the invisible sword, where even true chi becomes a sword. However, as always, there is a higher level above the highest. It was said that if one reached a state of harmony with nature beyond the boundary of life and death, human will would transcend its limits, and one could wield a sword with thought alone. It can't be. No matter how much his rate of growth transcended human limits, this bastard hadn't crossed beyond the realm of life and death. The supreme sword is just Suddenly, the eyes of Mok Gon's avatar widened. This bastard wasn't following the path of immortals or harmonizing with nature, but had created his own path. That was the supreme sword and the path of will. Gulp. His mouth went dry, and he swallowed hard. He's truly a monstrous bastard. Did he master the supreme sword, which maximizes one's own capabilities through will alone, and then even approach the sword of the mind by surpassing that limit? But then, the pain of his heart being stabbed struck again. Wuxin. Wuxin. Pat. Feeling that this wouldn't do, Mok Gon's avatar distanced himself from Mok Jiangyun. As he increased the distance, the throbbing pain in his heart subsided, and he could feel the wounded area regenerating. Because of this, he realized one thing. It's not yet perfect. If it were truly the legendary sword intent, the sword energy that had penetrated his heart would have gone beyond intense pain to make his mind hazy, and the sword energy would have spread throughout his entire body, making it impossible to move. However, now it only resulted in pain. Of course, the pain was not insignificant, which is why he had to retreat. Damn it. Mok Gon's avatar was dumbfounded. When he couldn't move his body, this bastard had stepped into a realm beyond his current limits. How could such a person exist? Even he, who had changed bodies countless times and made the martial arts of numerous great masters his own, hadn't been able to approach. Wuxin. Kook. Feeling a piercing pain in his chest, Mok Gon's avatar distanced himself even further. It was infuriating that even an incomplete sword of the mind could cause such a troublesome situation. The goal was to retrieve Ryu So-Wul's soul after sealing him with the Supreme Void Sealing Reversal technique. And he had intended to make him feel unparalleled pain, but at this rate, it was difficult to even approach him. He had managed to trap him, but now he was in a situation where he couldn't do anything. What should I do? If it were ordinary pain, he could forcibly endure it and approach. But the pain caused by the sword of the mind couldn't be endured even with such willpower, so he had no choice but to keep his distance. In fact, he could have pushed himself since this was just an avatar. However, he was reluctant to do so recklessly because if that bastard truly surpassed expectations and even completed the sword of the mind in this process, it would create an even more troublesome situation. You continue to block my path until the end, flinch. At that moment, the gaze of Mok Gon's avatar, who had been speaking, turned away from Mok Jiangyun to somewhere else. It was outside the Supreme Void Sealing Reversal technique. Outside, Chang Ryong, who he had thought would be inside Mok Jiangyun's bosom, was in her manifested form, extending her index finger towards the Supreme Void Sealing Reversal technique. It seemed she had used the void suppression from the 8 thought-shattering techniques. Even though it was a technique from the 8 thought-shattering techniques, called the Supreme Secret Manual, the Supreme Void Sealing Reversal technique was an ancient forbidden technique that cut off space itself, so the void suppression didn't work. However, thanks to using the void suppression, he realized that she was outside, not in here. Sick. The corners of Mok Gon's avatar's mouth stretched into a grin. He had thought that monstrous bastard would become a variable and hinder his retrieval of the Hun, but to think such luck would occur here. Suk. Mok Gon moved his body towards where Chang Ryong was. Seeing this, Mok Jiangyun visualized stabbing Mok Gon's avatar with a sword using his strong will to stop him. However, once the distance was increased, it no longer affected Mok Gon. At this, Mok Jiangyun mentally shouted to Chang Ryong. Chang Ryong. Telling her to run away and leave him behind. But because the connection as a spirit servant had been severed, Mok Jiangyun's thoughts couldn't be transmitted to her. Mortal. Chang Ryong was also anxious, watching Mok Jiangyun like this. In the split second when the beam of light enveloped him, Mok Jiangyun had thrown the wooden doll, allowing her to escape from it. However, in this unfortunate situation where he himself couldn't escape, her only thought was to somehow rescue Mok Jiangyun. So she had used the void suppression, but it didn't work. What should I do? She had thought that if she could affect the space, she might be able to create a crack in this enormous formation, but if even this didn't work, how could she save the mortal? As she was thinking this, she saw the three-eyed old man, presumed to be Mok Gon's avatar, approaching where she was. Yuduk. Chong Ryong glared at him as he approached, raising a vengeful thought filled with killing intent. The surroundings began to turn blood-red. However, as she hadn't fully recovered her spirit power yet, she couldn't unleash her ghost intent domain. Mok Gon's avatar spoke to her in this state. So we'll give up now. Once trapped in the supreme void sealing reversal technique, he can never escape. Release the mortal immediately. You surely know that such a demand won't work? Just how far will your madness go? You know. If you return to my side, I won't cause you any more pain. Ah, of course, that one is a separate matter. Mok Gon's avatar sneered, pointing his thumb at Mok Jiangun. Chong Ryong glared at him and said, "You can never have me." "No, soon I will." Tack. With those words, Mok Gon's avatar lightly flicked his finger. Yuong. Then, in the direction he had flicked his finger, something like an illusion began to appear. Chong Ryong's expression hardened as she saw something reflected in the illusion. This was because in the illusion, she could see countless, almost tens of thousands of people, moving in formation. Among them, numerous flags could be seen. Wudong Sect, Beggar Sect, Huashan Sect, Amei Sect, Zhongnan Sect, Kongtong Sect, Diansong Sect, Qingqing Sect, Murong Family, Zhuge Family, Huangfu Family, Jianzhouyan Family. In addition, flags of hundreds of small and medium-sized sects could be seen. And at the very front, large flags were fluttering. Righteous Alliance. These were the Righteous Alliance, a coalition of orthodox martial arts sects. This? What on earth? What on earth is this? Why are so many martial artists of the Righteous Alliance moving in such formation? As she was puzzled by this, Mok Gon's avatar laughed and said, "Did you think I had only been working on the Heaven and Earth Society for all this time? The human heart is less sturdy than you might think. It only takes a little manipulation for them to fall to desire or be consumed by madness in an instant. What are you trying to do?" They are currently marching south. South? To defeat the new Heaven and Earth Society led by the heavenly demon who will harm the martial arts world and to uphold justice. At these words, Chong Ryong spoke as if dumbfounded. Harm to the martial arts world? What on earth have you schemed? There's no need to scheme. Rather, he brought this upon himself. Not only did he single-handedly subdue the 108 Arhat formation of Shaolin and force the Sichuan Tang clan into seclusion, but he even took control of the spiritual sword sanctuary manor led by one of the seven heavens. Unless they're fools, do you think the Righteous Alliance would just stand by and watch? Ah, of course, since these fools go on about justice and righteousness, I merely provided a little catalyst. Quack. Chong Ryong couldn't contain her anger at his words. Indeed, it was hard to see him as Bai Yonghian anymore. While his madness towards her had continued for a long time, even for him, who had been the head of Heaven Vein, the Heaven and Earth Society was the foundation and a long-held dream. The fact that he was trying to destroy such a place through the dark side showed that he had completely strayed from the being she once knew. All that's left in you is madness and destruction. At her words, Mok Gon's avatar spoke as if he didn't care at all. Didn't I tell you? All of this is your own doing. Your own doing. You really have gone mad. It doesn't matter how you see it. Soon, we'll return to how things were before. Mok Gon's avatar, no, Mok Gon was already certain of everything. This probably wasn't all he had prepared. Moving the Righteous Alliance was to shake up the newly fortified Heaven and Earth Society after all his subordinates had disappeared. If in that state, the true catastrophe he intended were to unfold. Chong Ryong's eyes shook. She now understood his true intentions. Your main body is also heading towards the Heaven and Earth Society, isn't it? At her words, Mok Gon's avatar raised the corner of his mouth sinisterly, as if to say she was correct. Seeing this, she felt as if her non-existent heart was pounding. Quack. Chong Ryong bit her lip hard. This madman was not only prepared to obtain her but also to thoroughly ravage the world. Suk. Changrayong turned her gaze to look into Mok Jiongun's eyes. Mortal. In the frozen space, Mok Jiongun's eyes were still alive. That's why even he, despite setting such an enormous trap, couldn't do anything about this guy. Changrayong looked at Mok Jiongun and said in her heart, "I'll trust you." Pat. Believing that they shared the same intention, as soon as Changrayong steeled her resolve in her heart, she launched her body in the opposite direction. The direction she was heading was southeast, where the Heaven and Earth Society was located. Watching her, Mok Gon sneered. "Do you think I'll let you escape?" Suk. Although most of his energy was tied to the Supreme Void Sealing Reversal technique, to the point where the practitioner had to put his own life on the line, and even he couldn't escape from inside, he could still do this much. Suk. Mok Gon grasped a sword intent and extended it towards Changrayong. Yuong. At that moment, an incredibly transparent formless sword appeared in the air and rushed towards her at tremendous speed. Cook. Changrayong twisted her body and swung her pipe. Then, a mist of blood appeared in the air, creating a whirlwind that tried to block the incoming formless sword like a shield. However, Puk. As Changrayong's spirit power had not yet fully recovered, her strength was not complete. The formless sword instantly pierced through the blood whirlwind and reached within 6 jang of Changrayong. Got her. Mok Gon smiled with satisfaction. But at that very moment, quack-quack-quack-wang. Several explosions occurred in the air, and something blocked the formless sword. The power of the explosions was so strong that even the formless sword couldn't easily penetrate it, and meanwhile, Changrayong was gradually moving further away. Oh no! Then, through the explosions, someone with half-white hair fluttering appeared. Seeing this, Mok Gon's eyes filled with rage. That someone was none other than Chen Chu, the highest-ranking member of Secret Society. How dare you? Yeah, I dare to interfere with you, you fucking parasite-eyed bastard. Chapter 464. The Beginning of a Calamity. Part 3. Yeah, I dare to interfere with you, you fucking parasite-eyed bastard. Huh? Mok Gon's expression turned cold at the coarse curse that came out of Chuanchu's mouth, the former first rank of the secret society. Whether it was an avatar or not, this mere subordinate who usually couldn't even look him in the face dared to insult and interfere with him at such a crucial moment. Swish! Mok Gon raised his left hand. As if they had been waiting nearby, bizarre winged Imimaniang revealed themselves. Gruer. Just by the flowing demonic energy alone, these were at least demonic-level Imimaniang. As expected of the place where Mok Gon's real body had been, there was a considerable number of flying Imimaniang. There were nearly dozens of them waiting. It seemed he had left them behind, anticipating they might come by air. Mok Gon sneered and said, "Foolish one. I'll make you pay the price for betrayal. Don't make me laugh. You're the one who betrayed me. Why did you take my father away from me?" Whoosh! As Chen Chu spread both hands wide, dozens of fireballs formed as hot air spread around her. Seeing her like this, Mok Gon clicked his tongue. Having been a top executive of Secret Society, she should know well the group's strength and how terrifying he was. Was she really willing to risk her life just because she lost her father? Clicking his tongue, Mok Gon soon pointed his raised left hand towards Chen Chu. As if on cue, the Imimaniang began firing demonic energy bullets at Chen Chu, opening their mouths. Papa-papa-papping. Chen Chu also launched fireballs condensed with explosive demonic energy she had created. As the demonic energy bullets and fireballs collided, explosions that seemed to shake the surroundings erupted one after another. Quack-quack-quack-quack-quack-wing. Now. In that instant, Mok Gon stretched out his right hand with all his internal energy gathered. Then the formless sword that had been stopped by the explosions finally pierced through them and flew towards Changrayong. Since she was trapped in the Supreme Void Sealing Reversal technique, he would have no choice but to lose her if she got any further away. If not now, the chance would. Puk. At that moment, Mok Gan's expression contorted horribly. He had thought Chen Chu wouldn't be able to intervene while blocking the Imimangniang, but she had flown into the trajectory and blocked the formless sword with her own body. This wench, she really... Was she determined to oppose him even at the cost of her life? Of course, Mok Gan's assumption was correct. After stopping the formless sword that had pierced her abdomen with her body, Chen Chu glanced back while grasping it with her left hand full of demonic energy. Chang Ryong was gradually getting smaller and farther away. Go. You must go there first. That way, things won't flow as this damned parasite bastard wants. Cough, cough. Although she had rapid regeneration befitting a top executive, even she couldn't overcome the power of the formless sword, which could be called the sword's extreme, as she coughed up blood from internal injuries. However, her will was still intense, and the heat of her anger was burning even more fiercely. Swish! Quack-quack-quack-quang. As Chen Chu stretched out her hand, the halted explosions resumed, blocking the approaching Imimangniang. What she had to do here was clear. Even if this becomes my grave, she would take them all to the afterlife. As if sensing her determination, Chang Ryong, who was flying away, clenched her fist tightly. Chen Chu had probably resolved herself to die. This was likely the only path of revenge for her. To prevent her sacrifice from being in vain, she had to arrive before Mok Gan's real body could reach heaven and earth society somehow. Mortal. Strangely, her mind was filled with worry for Mok Jiangun rather than hatred. She tried to shake it off. She believed that if it was Mok Jiangun, he would surely escape the trap that bastard had prepared and come to where she was. She drew forth even more spiritual energy and pressed forward. Sichuan Province. A valley that had become almost ruins after Jin 6 barrier collapsed. It was a horrific scene of carnage, with the corpses and blood of Imimangniang strewn everywhere. At the bottom of a rock wall, a single hand was sticking out from between the shattered rocks piled up. The hand that had been motionless as if dead began to tremble. Then, shoo-oo. The hand turned red-hot and steam flowed out. At that very moment, Kwang! The piled-up rocks shattered into pieces and flew up, revealing someone covered in wounds all over their body. It was Yu Mu Jin, a member of the Yu clan. Huh. Huh. Even in a normal state, being buried under so many rocks would have been enough to cause death by crushing. But having sustained injuries on top of that, even for Yu Mu Jin with the supreme physique of the Yu clan, it seemed difficult as his breathing was labored. As Yu Mu Jin caught his breath and surveyed his surroundings, his expression grew even worse. Father? He was concerned for his father's safety. Pat. Yu Mu Jin flew his body towards the valley. Damn it. While fighting the incoming enemies, he had a moment of crisis due to a sharp pain in his heart. However, the pain disappeared midway and he regained consciousness to face the Imimangniang again. But then he encountered the worst situation he had been dreading. Quack-quack-quack-quack-quack-wang. A being so immense that even calling it gigantic seemed laughable, crawling up while destroying Mugan Valley, known as the deepest valley in the Central Plains. The moment he saw this, Yu Mu Jin experienced the emotion of fear for the first time in his life. He knew of this being, but its actual form was beyond imagination. Gruur. Kwa-wa. And the moment it revealed half its body and let out a roar, he was blown away by the shockwave that destroyed everything around and lost consciousness. Father! Father! Yu Mu Jin shouted as he ran through the ruined cliffs. He had never once imagined his father being defeated or killed by something. But that being had already transcended the realm of imagination. How could the ancestor have managed to seal such a tremendous monster in Mugan Valley? As he thoroughly searched the surroundings, Yu Mu Jin's eyes reddened. Could it be that he couldn't even find the body? Thud. After searching for a long time without finding anything, Yu Mu Jin finally fell to his knees on the ground, tears flowing. Did father really pass away without leaving even a single trace? How could that strong father flinch? At that moment, Yu Mu Jin's ears perked up. The Yu clan, born with innate supreme physiques, recover their strength and heal both internal and external injuries quickly even without special breathing techniques as time passes. Although this had slowed down due to the injury to his heart, his physical abilities had somewhat recovered in the process of searching for his father. As a result, his exceptional five senses also came back to life, and Hugh. A faint sound of breathing coming from somewhere. It was not far away. It wasn't there before? Yumujin got up and headed towards where the sound was coming from. It was towards the cliff edge. Since he had to follow the sound of breathing, Yumujin jumped off the cliff without hesitation and discovered a hole in the cliff face about 30 jang down. Pack. Yumujin hurled his body into the hole. Judging by its shape, it didn't seem to be a natural hole in the cliff, but rather one that had been artificially created. In the dark hole, his eyes caught sight of someone's figure. It was his father, Yumujik, barely breathing with his right leg crushed and one arm torn off. Father. Yumujin rushed to his father and examined his condition. He was still breathing, but his father had used up all his strength, and even his muscles had contracted significantly. Father? Father? At Yumujin's call, Yumujik, unable to even open his eyes properly, spoke with difficulty. Must stop. Must stop. Kuru. Father. Yumujin shook his unconscious father, then bit his lip hard before slinging his father over his shoulder and coming out of the hole. Then he clung to the cliff with one hand. I have to go. To that place. The only place that could save his father, who was barely clinging to life, was there. He had to go there and inform them that the seal of the Great Strength King had been broken. The main hall of Heaven and Earth Society headquarters. Gathered there were the key figures in the victory of the internal war and the top executives under Mok Jiangun. To the immediate left of the central throne, the leader's seat, were the external recruits led by Mu, the master of spiritual sword sanctuary and one of the seven heavens, along with sword demon Goe, and fire faith order priestess. To the right were members of the 8 stars, including axe-destroying King Ho Taegang and poison King Baek Saha of the 5 kings, Bright Blade King Sun Yun, Shadow Clan Master Yacian, Defense Guardian Go Yun Bayak, and Corpse Blood Valley Master Li Jiyom. Among the key figures, there were also those who were equivalent to or belonged to the highest ranks, such as 8 Poison Snake Staff Guyong Sao, Mast Ma Ra Hyan, excommunicated monk Jia Jiamjong, Siap Chun, and Mong Muyak, but they were not present as they were continuing their missions. Shadow Spear King Yu Sin, one of the 8 stars and 5 kings, was also absent as he was still under investigation for alleged collusion with the enemy faction, Secret Society. Now that we're gathered like this, there doesn't seem to be a major drop in our fighting power. This was the assessment of Poison King Baek Saha as he casually surveyed the faces of the gathered top executives with his arms crossed. There had been considerable losses in terms of manpower due to the hidden forces of Secret Society and the internal war with Na Yolriang's faction. Numerically speaking, about 1/3 of the entire force had been sacrificed. However, the conclusion was that this was not the case in terms of actual fighting power. The significant increase in masters who have crossed the wall into the transformation realm is a big factor. There were external figures like Sword Demon Goe, 8 Poison Snake Staff Guyong Sao, Mast Ma Ra Hyan, and the renegade monk Jia Jiamjong who was comparable to the transformation realm. Additionally, he and the Corpse Blood Valley Master had crossed the wall this time. The number of Supreme Masters at the level of the 8 stars had increased by 6. Moreover, fortunately, there was no loss of the 2 existing 5 kings belonging to the 8 stars. And the biggest factor is Baek Saha's gaze turned to Mu, the master of spiritual sword sanctuary. The fact that Mu, called the pinnacle of the current martial arts world and one of the 7 heavens, had joined was tremendously significant. While the Righteous Alliance and Evil Alliance each had only one person with the title of 7 heavens, the newly formed Heaven and Earth Society had 2 individuals with that title. Moreover, one of them had even surpassed the Wall of Walls, the Profound Realm, and reached the Life and Death Realm, making him arguably the closest to being the strongest under heaven. Kuhuhu. This old one's choice was correct. As a result, this old one's disciple will remain the hegemon of the new era. Perhaps feeling satisfied for no reason, the corners of Beksaha's mouth slightly turned upward. Just then, someone opened their mouth. It was axe-destroying King Hotegang. Now that the aftermath of the internal war seems to have been sorted out to some extent, important matters remain to be discussed. Important matters? Are there matters to discuss when Mok Jayananganja, who is to become the society leader, hasn't even been inaugurated yet? To Defense Guardian Go Yanbaek's question, it was not axe-destroying King Hotegang but Shadow Clan Master Yacian who answered. Who? That society leader is one of the important matters. Society leader? What do you mean by that? Although it took the form of an internal war because it happened within Heaven and Earth Society, this recent war was strictly a process of creating a new organization. Do you mean? Even small units have names, so an organization befitting one of the three major forces should have a suitable name, don't you think? Ah. At these words, most of the top executives nodded in agreement. Those gathered under Mok Jayangan were not following a new successor who would become the leader of Heaven and Earth Society. Therefore, a new name for the organization was needed to reflect this. But couldn't such an important matter wait until Lord Mok Jayangan returns? To Corpse Blood Valley Master Li Jiyom's opinion, axe-destroying King Hotegang replied. Well, the final decision will of course be up to our Lord, but wouldn't it be better to have some framework in place before he returns to make it easier for him to decide? This old one agrees. Ho. Poison King Beksaha concurred. At this, Li Jiyom also nodded in agreement. Then Shadow Clan Master Yacian spoke. Is there anyone who would like to propose a name befitting this new organization? At these words, axe-destroying King Hotegang spoke as if he had been waiting. If we're going to name the organization, let's go with a strong name. Do you have something in mind? How about something like Hegemon Society that would make those Righteous Alliance and Evil Alliance bastards tremble just hearing it? Not bad. Bright Blade King Sun Yun, whose injuries had not yet healed, agreed while stroking his chin. He too had a tendency to prefer strong things. However, Corpse Blood Valley Master Li Jiyom disagreed with this, tilting his head as he spoke. The title of Hegemon isn't bad, but is there a need to go back to using society? Why, is there a problem with that? The title Society might seem like we're not forgetting that our predecessor was Heaven and Earth Society. At these words from Li Jiyom, Sword Demon Goe spoke for the first time. Even to me, an outsider, that argument seems to have merit. Is there really a need to use the title association that the defeated used? Who? Then does the Sword Demon have any thoughts from an outsider's perspective? To Shadow Clan Master Yacian's question, Sword Demon Goe replied with a grin. Wouldn't the word alliance sound better? At these words, even O Cheon Mu, the master of Spiritual Sword Sanctuary, nodded as if he didn't think it was a bad idea. As they were from the neutral faction, they preferred something that felt solid yet rounded. Alliance. On the other hand, the top executives from Heaven and Earth Society didn't seem too pleased with the word alliance. In the current martial arts world, organizations that use the title alliance include the Righteous Alliance and Evil Alliance. Originally, Heaven and Earth Society was an organization formed by those who wanted to worship only martial prowess, neither righteous nor evil. Was there really a need to follow the same path as the other two forces? Just then, someone spoke up. How about cult? Everyone's gaze turned to the owner of that voice. The one who suggested this was none other than Holy Fire Priestess of Fire Faith Order. At her suggestion, axe-destroying King Hotegang was the first to snort and say, "Cult? What a preposterous idea. We may have seated you at this top executive meeting, but this is strictly a martial arts organization." I agree with Brother Ho's words. Bright Blade King Sun Yun also showed his displeasure. Despite their intimidating demeanor, Holy Fire Priestess showed some tension but soon spoke again. This isn't because I'm from Fire Faith Order. Then what do you mean? Young Master Mok is an avatar of fire. An avatar of fire? I mean, he's a being who should be revered as a god. He will lead the foolish people of the Central Plains. Enough. Axe-destroying King Hotegang cut off her words. Then he clicked his tongue and said, I told you this is a martial arts organization. You'd do well to abandon any thoughts of coloring it with fire faith orders hues using your measly 3-inch tongue. I'm not trying to color it with fire faith orders hues. Holy Fire Priestess's opinion isn't entirely without merit. At that moment, Shadow Master Huan Yacian intervened. At this, the top executives from Heaven and Earth Society frowned as they looked at him. Despite their gazes, Huan Yacian calmly continued speaking. Society, or alliance, clearly have limitations. What do you mean by limitations? Shadow Master. Although we won the war, it's undeniable that over 80% of our forces are from Heaven and Earth Society. So what? Is there a problem with that? The top executives here decided to follow young Master Mok, or rather our Lord, of their own volition, but not everyone is like that. A considerable number fought in this war without knowing anything, simply following their respective leaders, the executives. At these words, Hotegang couldn't deny it this time. In fact, the organization's headquarters was still in turmoil in many ways and not completely united. This was because many of them felt the recent war lacked justification and viewed it as an internal conflict within the organization. So among the members who had respected the leader of Heaven and Earth Society, there were some who harbored resentment or dissatisfaction. But that doesn't sufficiently justify using the title cult. It could. Because unlike alliance or society which emphasize the meaning of gathering itself, sect requires absolute faith in the leader, just like a country that serves an emperor. Faith? To change and absorb all the systems and power that the society has built over a long time in a short period, absolute trust in the leader is necessary. In that respect, nothing is better than cult. At Shadow Master Huan Yacian's opinion, everyone showed signs of contemplation. It was a direction they had never considered before, but it wasn't completely without precedent. After all, there was the blood cult in the past martial arts world. Just then, Sword Demon Goe snickered and said, If we need to make the leader an absolute being, why not just use the leader's title or name? How about Mok Jianan cult or even Heavenly Demon cult? In fact, this was a joke from Sword Demon Goe to lighten the mood. However, no one laughed at his words. Instead, everyone seemed to be seriously considering his suggestion, carefully mouthing Heavenly Demon cult. What's this? Are they really taking this seriously? As he was puzzled, that's when it happened. Tada. Someone hurriedly entered the main hall. Judging by the attire, it seemed to be a messenger from the Shadow Clan's intelligence division. As soon as the messenger entered, he knelt on one knee, clasped his hands in a salute, and reported in an urgent voice, Urgent report. The entire force of the Righteous Alliance is rapidly advancing south towards our headquarters. Chapter 465. The Beginning of a Calamity. Part 4. Urgent report. The entire force of the Righteous Alliance is rapidly advancing south towards our headquarters. Taken completely by surprise by the sudden report, Shadow Clan Master Yacian stood up with a furrowed brow and asked, Did you say the entire force of the Righteous Alliance is advancing south towards here? Yes, my lord. Judging by your attire, you're from the southern Hubei branch. When did you first receive this news? Well, that. Bang. Axe-destroying King Hotegang slammed his hand on the armrest and raised his voice. Can't you speak properly? We found out as they were preparing to cross the Yangtze River. The main hall fell into an icy silence at the messenger's report. There were two reasons for their reaction. First, learning about it as they were preparing to cross the Yangtze meant that either the Righteous Alliance had moved so swiftly that none of the branches noticed them coming down from Hunan through northern Hubei, or all the branches had already been taken out. Second, although the messenger had hurried, some time had passed since he left, which meant the enemy had likely already crossed the Yangtze and reached Hunan. If so, it wouldn't be long before the Righteous Alliance forces reached their headquarters. Assuming they hurried, it was entirely possible within 2 weeks. Of all times, it seems information has leaked out. The main hall was in an uproar. It hadn't been long since they'd fought a war and were still sorting out internal matters, yet for the Righteous Alliance to advance south with all their forces like this meant information had undoubtedly leaked. Sword Demon Goe clicked his tongue and muttered, "We'll be fighting a real battle in a short time, something that hasn't happened in decades." Ahem. Lord Goe. O Cheonmu, the master of spiritual sword sanctuary and one of the 7 heavens, lightly rebuked him. Beyond being an external recruit, this was now their problem too. A war against the Righteous Alliance's forces was absolutely not something to be taken lightly. The Righteous Alliance. This could severely damage morale. Poison King Beksaha expressed this concern. They were about to engage in all-out war with the Righteous Alliance forces so soon after fighting their own war. Even the top executives were taking this seriously, so the morale of the regular warriors would likely plummet. Thud. Bright Blade King Sun Yun lightly tapped the floor with the sword cane he was leaning on and spoke. "We don't have the luxury of staying silent. If the messenger's report is true, we need to organize our forces and move out before they reach our headquarters." That's right. If we resort to a defensive battle, the damage will be uncontrollable. Defense Guardian Go Yunbayok also agreed with this. Even if they had systems in place for a defensive battle, there were many non-combatants from the clan inside. If these people got caught up in it, not only would there be casualties, but they might even be taken hostage. Therefore, defending the headquarters should be the last resort. At that moment, O Cheonmu, the master of spiritual sword sanctuary, looked at everyone and said, "If we're going to fight this war anyway, let's boost our morale. If the top executives here show low morale, it will affect those below us." Master O's words are correct. This was a war we'd have to fight eventually anyway. Since we're fighting it, let's try to change the game properly this time. Poison King Beksaha, who was actually of a similar age despite looking different due to his body transformation, agreed and supported his words. Axe-destroying King Ho Tae-gang said to Shadow Clan Master Yacian, "Lord Huan, please send a messenger to our lord urging him to return. Although his mission is important, we cannot be without our leader in an all-out war against the Righteous Alliance." Hoo. Understood. I'll do that. Well then. Let's start the strategy meeting. Before he could finish his sentence, another person dressed as a messenger rushed into the main hall. Ho Tae-gang clicked his tongue and asked, "What is it now?" Urgent report. The Evil Alliance is also advancing south with all their forces, divided into an advance and rear guard. The expressions of the executives, who had been trying to raise morale until just moments ago, immediately hardened. This was true even for axe-destroying King Ho Tae-gang, who had been leading the atmosphere. What on earth was this news? The Evil Alliance? Aren't they located even further north than the Righteous Alliance? The Evil Alliance is advancing south? Is this information certain? Corpse Blood Valley Master Lee Ji-yom asked in a serious voice. This was because among the 3 major forces in the current martial arts world, the Righteous Alliance was undoubtedly the strongest. For this reason, Heaven and Earth Society had been maintaining friendly relations with the Evil Alliance, if only for the sake of balance. Why on earth would they be advancing south? Could they have mistaken this for an opportunity to attack the empty Righteous Alliance headquarters? To this, the messenger replied, "No. It's reported that the first Alliance Lord of the Evil Alliance, the unruly evil hegemon Emperor Hang Sim, has already led an advance force of 8,000 cavalry past the Righteous Alliance headquarters and reached northern Hubei. The first Alliance Lord of the Evil Alliance, unruly evil hegemon Emperor Hang Sim. He was called the Hegemon of the North and was one of the 7 heavens, the pinnacle of the current martial arts world. Given that no sects under the Righteous Alliance tried to stop them as they advanced south, it seems clear." Though he didn't finish his sentence, the same thought crossed the minds of all the top executives simultaneously. An alliance between the righteous and the demonic. This was something that had never happened since the Great War between the righteous and demonic factions in the past. 2 days later, 6 Office's Commander Jean Yurin, who had been heading towards the Evil Alliance headquarters, also couldn't hide her bewilderment when she heard this news after stopping by a Evil Alliance branch with a branch leader from the Nine Blood cult. The first Alliance Lord of the Evil Alliance led the advance guard south? That's correct. Huh. What on earth is going on? She had been planning to try to prevent secret society from awakening the 6 demons in Datong, north of Shaanxi province, with the help of the Evil Alliance. But this news was like a bolt from the blue. To the bewildered Jean Yurin, the branch leader said, "We're not entirely sure either since it happened so suddenly, but we hear that a wooden box with the seal of Heaven and Earth Society arrived at the headquarters containing the heads of 500 branch leaders and members from various branches in Heaven and Earth Society's territory. That seems to have triggered it, but we're also confused about why they suddenly allied with the Righteous Alliance." They allied with the Righteous Alliance? That's right. Jean Yurin's expression turned serious at the branch leader's answer. There had been no sign of this at all when she had received help from the Evil Alliance. For this to happen so suddenly. Secret society. Grind. They must have plotted something. Although she had been distanced from the martial arts world while serving as an Imperial Guard, she knew that the Evil Alliance and Heaven and Earth Society had quite friendly relations. For them to become enemies, and to form an alliance with the Righteous Alliance, who had been their mortal enemies since the Great War between the righteous and demonic factions, was hard to understand. What should I do about this? She couldn't help but be troubled. Things had gone awry. This meant that getting help from the Evil Alliance to stop the 6 demons was now out of the question. Then, suddenly remembering the mention of an advance guard, she asked, "Did the Second Alliance Lord? Did he also participate in this war?" The Second Alliance Lord Golden Indestructible Body, 2, He Yokwon, and the 5th Alliance Lord Azura Slaughterblade, 3, Yu Jiang were from the Nine Blood cult. They were also reliable allies for her, the only survivor of the Jean family. Although they were Alliance Lords of the Evil Alliance, they had heard about secret society from her, so they couldn't have been without doubts about this. To her question, the branch leader replied, "I heard that the Second Alliance Lord strongly opposed this war, but according to the final decision of the Alliance Lords meeting, I believe he's leading the rear guard." With the wooden box containing the heads of Evil Alliance branch leaders and members, there was no choice but to yield to the justification for war. But what was important to Jean Yurin wasn't that. Her eyes sparkled as she asked, "Where is the rear guard now?" "The backyard of Harmonious Immortal Pavilion." Whoa. A cloud of smoke rose, forming a circle, and someone leapt out from within it. That someone was none other than Yeo Surin, a diviner of Harmonious Immortal Pavilion. As soon as Yeo Surin emerged from the smoky portal, about a dozen diviners rushed out to the backyard with talismans and ritual tools, apparently having sensed her spell power. "Sister Yeo?" One of them, a diviner with a handsome face, recognized her with furrowed brows. "Senior brother." Yeo Surin's eyes welled up with tears of joy as she tried to hug him. But the diviner called Senior Brother firmly rejected this, leaning away from her. At this, she spoke with a sulky face. "Isn't that too much after not seeing each other for so long? Men and women should keep their distance. Why are you trying to cling to me like this? More importantly, why are you only coming now? Didn't you receive the message Master sent?" "Message? I didn't receive anything. I was actually coming to ask Master for help, but did something happen?" To her question, the diviner called Senior Brother clicked his tongue and replied, "So you didn't know how serious the situation has become." "What do you mean the situation has become serious?" "The seal at Great Yen Temple has been broken." "What?" Yeo Surin's eyes widened. Great Yen Temple of the esoteric Buddhist sect in Datong, northern Shaanxi province. They were monks who cultivated Buddhist law, but as members of the esoteric sect, they were also skilled in sorcery. The abbot of Great Yen Temple, Great Master Gakwon, was one of the 6 direction gods who had inherited spiritual power and sorcery from previous generations, and had long guarded the being sealed in Great Yin Temple. Only the 6 direction gods, called the pinnacle of diviners, knew about that being. Has the White Great Ping Demon King been released? Yes. That's impossible. I heard that seal was made by over 1,000 moon level and higher diviners pouring all their spell power into it. And until now, at Great Yin Temple, they've been chanting the demon subduing sutra. And yet that seal has been broken. Yeo Suren's expression turned serious. I feared it might be true, but Lord Mok's concerns are really coming to pass. She had come here to consult with her master, the red-eyebrow old immortal, for this very reason. If secret society was trying to move the 6 demons, the leaders of the Imimaniang, this was no longer just a matter for the martial arts world. It was the worst calamity for the Central Plains, requiring all diviners to take action. It seemed her master's absence was likely due to this as well. Then did master go to the meeting of the 64 diviner sects to discuss this? To her question, the diviner called senior brother shook his head and replied, "No, that's not it." No? Why not? The release of one of the 6 demons, the kings of Imimaniang, is nothing short of a catastrophe. Along with that, the worst situation has occurred. What could be worse than that? 70% of the diviners from the 64 diviner sects suddenly vanished as if they had evaporated. What? She couldn't hide her shock. 70% of the diviners from the 64 diviner sects would amount to tens of thousands of diviners disappearing. What on earth is going on? As she wondered, the diviner called senior brother was about to place his hand on her shoulder but hesitated, barely touching it with his fingertips as he spoke. It seems master is currently investigating that. For now, since most of the diviners active outside have all disappeared, master has ordered all diviners of our pavilion not to leave Harmonious Immortal Pavilion. That's why we sent you a message to return. Anyway, it's fortunate that you've come back like this. For the time being, don't leave Harmonious Immortal Pavilion and stay inside here. No, I can't. What? What do you mean you can't? If that's true, then I especially can't stay here. What on earth are you saying? Master called for you to return and ordered not to leave the pavilion. Are you saying you're going to disobey? Senior brother. Grab. Yeo Suren suddenly grasped his hand. The face and ears of the diviner called senior brother instantly turned red. To him, she spoke pleadingly. I need master's great ritual tool from the divine origin hall. What?